Talking the Bad Batch trailer and Godzilla vs. Kong spoiler free this morning on Midnight Edge in the Morning. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. It's middle of the week. We got a new movie. We got a trailer for some Star Wars stuff. And, yeah, we've all seen the movie. I don't know about you guys out there, but we're not going to talk spoilers right away, of course. Andre wanted to be very clear about that. So we'll definitely warn you when we get to that point. That's not going to be for a little bit yet. We got a little bit of news to talk and some other things. With us this morning is Andre the Boss Man, as I just mentioned. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Well, that is, my head freaking hurts because I just watched the movie. But other than that, I'm good. So, yeah.
Did you have the volume up too high, or?
Nah, it's just... We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
All right. It's one of those movies you can turn your brain off on, but we'll get to that. And also with us this morning, at least for now until anybody else joins us, the one, the only Paulie from Latino Slant. How you doing?
And remember to unmute your mic.
Great. He's paused, but he's doing wonderful.
I'm here.
Good morning.
What did I miss? Good morning. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. We're just saying good morning.
Yeah. So, how are you today and this morning, Paulie?
Wonderful. Just not used to being on. Well, I'm on time. I'm on time with you guys.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just sounded like we caught you off guard there. So,
put
your pants back on.
Exactly. It's still early. Nature did call. I had to take care of business.
That happens. All right.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with the audience. That's much appreciated.
Did you happen to watch the Bad Batch trailer this morning?
Oh man, no. I want to though.
Oh well, I watched it, but I've never really watched I've seen various episodes of the Clone Wars, but I'll be upfront, not a big fan of the Clone Wars cartoons. So like I have zero frame of reference for this and no fucks to give about the show. I'll be 100% honest. But yeah, like Muzzy Skeleton says, watch it now. It's like 2 minutes. Go ahead and turn us off for a minute, go watch it and come back, I guess. But Andre, it looks like it's a spin-off of the Clone Wars cartoon characters. What did you think of it?
Yeah, we'll get into that in a moment. First, I just want to say greetings to everyone that's out there in the chat watching us. As always, we have Sander Hammerslag is here, still recovering from his birthday yesterday. Keely Chow says what's going on? Indeed. And we have your Muslim uncle is here. Thundercats Ho is here, and we have a couple of super chats already. Of course, we have Natasha is also here, and Maskeleton, and many other regular faces. House of Trade is here, and so good to see you all. And before we get into the Bad Batch, we have a couple of super chats to go through as well. So we will be getting into that now momentarily. The one that we can bring up on stream right away is the Jack of all casuals, who says, "Morning, gentlemen. Going to see Godzilla in theaters today. Yay!" Oh, yeah, that's right, because like half of theaters in LA are open already, and I think that many are starting to open up around the world as well, probably.
Yeah, we just got word that they're allowing 50% capacity for this weekend. So that's good news for Kong and Godzilla, at least. Yeah.
Oh, did it opened up to 50%?
Oh, yeah, I just heard that this morning. I just read it, I should say.
Okay. Yeah. We went this past weekend. Sunday night, and it was the 25% at the AMCs. But yeah, it's opening up. That's great.
Maybe my early predictions aren't going to be too far off for this weekend. So we'll see.
Let's remind everyone what your early prediction was.
I said it would be around 60 million, if not more, because I like I pointed out, there's nothing else up against it. And normally when you'd have like a 20, 25 theater complex kind of thing, 5 or 6 theaters are delegated for the brand new movie and the rest are showing other movies. In this case, even if it's 50% capacity, I guarantee you 20 out of those 25 theaters, if not almost all of them, are going to be showing Kong versus Godzilla or Godzilla versus Kong, which I swear they changed the title at some point. But anyway, so maybe, just maybe, it can actually muster up enough money throughout those theaters because it doesn't have any real competition to go off of. And if people want to get out and it's Easter weekend and that kind of, or should I say spring break weekend, if I want to be PC. So yeah,
well, that's not. Yeah. So it's called Easter weekend.
Yeah, so, yeah. And I mean the early projections had it, I'd think, at around 30. Then they backed off a bit, and now they're kind of, I think, creeping back up because it did so well overseas. And for those who don't know, outside of the U.S., where it was opened this last weekend, it actually made
at least some places, not everywhere. Because Diego Flores points out, I had to read the plot since I won't have access to the movie until June. So to hell with it.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if you didn't like the spoilers that came out earlier, then you're not going to probably like it. Because, yeah, they were pretty much proven to be fact. But we're not going to get into spoilers yet. So don't worry.
We won't.
We're going to actually talk about the Bad Batch first. But anyway,
we will. But first, we have a couple
of
more super chats. Yeah. Mags sats for $5. Thank you so much. Hail all, working and lurking today. But I can't wait to hear the discussion for today's topics.
Indeed, we're talking about the Bad Batch and Godzilla and Kong, and I didn't get to say it made 122 million already in its coffers. So
yeah, that's a pretty solid start right there. And before the show started today, we have Bruce Campbell was in Spider-Man 3, I guess. And he says, actually, I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you in the private chat because this is most decidedly for you. I'm not even going to try this one.
Oh, koalas on the brain. Koalas on the brain. $5 given. That was good. That was very good.
Yeah, I thought so.
Very good.
Kit Kat sent us a super sticker, so let's see who has birthday today. And Hyper Guyver 2 says, so is anyone going to talk about Nobody, or are we just going to forget that it also came out this weekend?
Actually Holly got to see it.
Fantastic movie. So much fun. Why
don't you tell the folks what it's about real quick? Just a short version.
I mean, basically, it's Odenkirk as a retired CIA. I don't even know if he's a cleaner or a hitman or definitely just a badass assassin retired. And John Wick happens, and they poke the bear, and then there's just like a lot of like almost a comedic inner monologue as he goes about it. So that was great. I had a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil it. I highly recommend it. It's all action, and no political message. Just kick ass. A lot of kick ass. Great villains. And
you mean it's actually not on a streaming service either?
I don't know. I saw it in the movie theater. That's what
I don't think it is. I don't know what studio brought it out, but let me look.
And Odenkirk is fantastic if you're a fan of his. And there's Christopher Guest is in it. Christopher Lloyd, excuse me. I always do that. Christopher Lloyd is hilarious cameo. And RZA, hilarious camp. Riz is good in like little spurts for me, and then the Russian bad guy is fantastic, and Connie Nielsen's a very very small role as the wife, and yeah, I mean it's it's really a kind of like very straightforward story,
Well, very cool. So I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing it myself once it is made available in my region. Until then, you just got the go clear to go and see Nobody fun action movie that is not in any way, shape, or form agenda driven, and maybe that's something that is worth recommending and supporting just for that in this day and age.
And it will be on demand April 16th, by the way.
Okay, so yeah, we're 2 weeks out from it then for the rest of us. On Amazon then, or exactly where?
It just says on demand, so I'm assuming it'll just be for sale. It's a Universal film, and I don't know if they're going to throw it on Peacock in 45 days or what.
Well, as long as they don't make it a Peacock exclusive, that would be stupid.
Oh no, it'll be like
for you'll
be able to buy it. Yeah, on demand usually means you'll be able to buy it through like Vudu and Amazon and iTunes and whatever.
It's filmed so well, great action sequences, a lot of action sequences. So, if you can get, it's definitely a good one to see in the movie theater.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay, so yeah, that answers that. Now we have addressed nobody. Go see it. And then we have a couple more I can bring up on screen. Dash Des says, I may need my meds increased, but I had a great idea for a movie after the koala on Monday. Koala versus Sharknado. And to keep it relevant, he gets saved by Geode and Cara Dune. Please send help. I'm now broken. Well, first of all, thank you for the 20 Canadian dollars super chat. But
that's funny.
But yeah, it only goes to show that things return to somewhat normal.
And then Diego Flores clears up what he was talking about earlier. Just to give context, due to HBO Max launching in June in Peru, mysteriously one of the first in Latin America, even though we are the piracy capital of South America. I hope you use Surfshark. It has pushed the film to June here. Not sure if cinema. Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't just put it out in theaters now. And then when they launch HBO Max, it'd just be one of the newer films. That makes no sense. But all right, well, thanks for that, Diego. And then Stephanie Janicek comes in with Maris got her feet trimmed and vet checked, waiting for vet. Maris says hi. I'm assuming Maris is a pet, either a cat or a dog, or maybe it's an ape or a lizard.
In either event, Maris says hi, so hi to Maris, and glad to hear everything is great.
Hi, Maris.
Yeah. And then we have Gaijin Grimpora saying for $10, thank you so much. I'm going to be watching it at least 45 times on HBO Max while I wait for my family to be ready to see it in theaters. And then I'm probably going to see it in theaters another 50 times. So someone that's highly been anticipating the movie. Which you can kind of tell from the username. I imagine. Yeah.
And then we got one more we can grab on screen before we go back to the old ones, if there's any left.
Yeah. Says, hi, gents. I loved the Bad Batch trailer. There's been a lot of talk about Omega and who Omega is. Yeah, we'll get to that momentarily. Before then, Karasu Yaiba says for $5, please be careful when reading possible spoiler super chats. I got spoiled the deaths in Avengers Endgame on the week of release via super chats. Well, that sucks. And if that happens, don't you worry. We're not going to bring up those super chats until we get into the spoiler section. And when we get there, we're going to make it abundantly clear that we are there. I'm changing title and thumbnail and everything.
And please be decent in the chat and not spoil it till we get there. Actually, that'd be the easiest thing for everybody.
Yes.
How did you
so
spoil
please,
it?
everyone, no spoilers.
Oh, I said Darth Vader shows up.
You didn't tell him Darth Vader won, did you? Oh,
Yeah. And so then just to reiterate that to Jim M, yeah, no spoilers. We will not spoil a single thing. We'll give our impressions here for now. And then later, and when we do, we are going to make it abundantly clear that we are now in the spoiler section. Then there will be spoilers.
We actually have a video.
Plenty time.
Yeah, we actually even have a little thing to signify it. So everybody's very sure that we're in spoiler territory because we'll have a little video.
Yeah,
but no, yeah, as long as we don't give shit away like the end credit scene where we learn that the next movie is going to be Godzilla versus Kong versus Kevin McAllister. And my money's on Kevin because he's got a couple of years to prepare. So
versus Shane.
Shane. Damn it, Shane.
I saw that in the chat.
And Eric Winberg says, "Hail, Tom, don't forget to promote your OnlyFans."
Oh, well, I do have something I can actually promote. My song is now on Amazon Music.
Yes.
Along with Spotify and iTunes, by the way. So there you go.
And then also have to say Fractal Jack. His existence is validated by a shoutout. So here, Fractal Jack, shoutouts. I hope your existence is now validated.
Hopefully you're not fractured anymore in your hole.
Whoa.
Let us hope so. And then I'm just gonna do a double check to make sure that we didn't miss anything so far, and then we'll get into the Bad Batch before we get into all things Godzilla versus Kong.
And Mara's a horse, so she has a horse.
Wow, so it would seem. So that's something quite different from a kitty or a little doggy,
or even an ape or a lizard.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, good going. Just to take care of yourself, like there begins.
I'm gonna butcher this name. Etienne Falardeau. Try this, Andre, for me.
Etienne. Yeah, sure. Etienne Falardeau. Says nice. For $5 Canadian, I want to watch Godzilla vs. Kong with my 6-year-old and 9-year-old. Is it okay for kids this age? You know, I would say that depends. For the 9-year-old, no problem.
Yeah.
For the 6-year-old, I would say it's going to depend on the level of maturity of the 6-year-old.
And did they like the other films? Like, you could go off, because this is probably, I mean, without getting into any spoilers, I would say it's probably the least scariest of all the films, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think as long as they can handle the other films, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I would 9-year-old, no problem. 6-year-old, I would say watch the movie first. So yeah, do that. Watch the movie first. Absolutely.
Since he's immature, so I guess it will be okay. I mean, without getting into spoilers, like I said, this is probably the least scary. I don't know if these guys disagree with me or not, but yeah, that's what I would say.
I was frightened the whole time.
You were not, you liar. I mean,
indeed.
I can say this without getting into spoilers. There's even stuff that might even get into like Saturday morning cartoon territory.
There's also some things that wouldn't, but
nothing that's really overly adult at all, or bloody or anything like that.
I would still assess with the individual 6-year-olds, but
of course. Yeah. Like I said, if you've already watched the other films with them, which would help them understand what the hell's going on anyway. I mean, and you can kind of go off that. If they were fine with them, then you should be fine here. Is my point.
Yeah. And then we have a few more super chats, Doomed says, if Godzilla vs. Kong does well, do you think Disney moved Black Widow prematurely? Here's like the thing, though, with everything, it's a strategic decision. It's also a matter of pushing a streaming service. In the case of Disney, I think that they're going to want to bring keep Disney Plus afloat and remind everyone that that's there. And so yeah, no, I don't think that they did anything prematurely. I think it was a good call to do what they did. I really do. That's me. Tom, any thoughts on that?
I agree with you that they probably did this more for Disney Plus than it was out of any cautionary move. I really do. Then again, I did bring this question up, I think it was the other day. Do we think that if Kong versus Godzilla manages to do so much better than anticipated in the current environment, are the studios going to kind of rethink things outside of HBO Max situation? Because we know that's completely and utterly to push that. So I guess I repost that question again, especially now that we know that 50% of theaters are open in at least LA. I don't know if it's California or just LA, but I noticed a lot more theaters around here are open too. I just looked, and even some of the AMCs and stuff are open. So that's a change.
Yeah, that seems like quite a difference from the current norm going on. And then we have Brandon Wolf, who says, I plan on going to Godzilla vs. Kong, if for no other reason than to stick it to traditional Hollywood and to shit on woke movies. Bring back the 80s. Yeah, that's good motivations right there. And Stephen Otten says, hail Midnight's Edge, Wrenches, and everyone in the chat.
Yes, hail the Wrenches.
To break off and watch the movie in time for the spoiler review. Yeah, do that. And again, we're going to make absolutely clear when we get into the spoilers, so no one is going to be in any kind of doubt about that.
Yeah,
and then
these will be split up later too. So I don't know if you want to point that out.
Yeah, that's for the replay. That's not going to help anything for those watching right now.
But if anybody has to come back, like that individual who said he's going to go watch the movie now, in case we get into
for the replay over at Midnight's Edge Live Archives, they will be split up into 2 separate streams, so the streams don't cross basically. And then we have Gaijin Grimpora, who says, for $10, I wasn't expecting to be called out by my username like that, LOL. Also, I have been a Godzilla fan since I was 2, and I lost my mind the other day when I thought that the entire Showa era is on HBO Max.
Oh, is it? Cool.
Is it? Did they do any kind of restoration on it?
Well, it's probably the Criterion versions. That's what I have. And most of those are whatever the best versions they could get their hands on.
Okay. Well,
which unfortunately some of them I believe are like a 1080i scan, but it's whatever Toho had on hand. Because even the original, speaking of Godzilla versus King Kong, the original version, the only way you can watch the Japanese version in that set is a special feature, because a bunch of the scenes are in like some strange standard definition scan. It's really goofy looking. It'll jump between shots here and there. It's kind of funny, but no, that's the only way you can really watch it.
Well, there you go. Well, at least it's there. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, it's totally there. And like, of course, all the remastered scenes are cut in. So that's probably what I think they did, is whatever was remastered from the Universal print, they intercut with whatever version they had. So it's not like an official version. The version that's on the disc for the official version is the American cut.
Yeah. And then Filmlars says, for 100 Danish krona, tusen takk. Hail Midnight's Edge, what are you watching for Easter? Every Good Friday, I'm watching Ben Hur with Charlton Heston. Totally epic movie. Yes, it is indeed. I think that this year I'm finally gonna get around to watching the Snyder Cut. That's actually must for me. Yeah, I know I'm way behind.
What about you,
but that's
Paulie?
one thing I will be watching for sure.
What about you, Paulie? Anything special you're gonna watch for Easter? I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, those particular plans.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Do I really, outside of Critters 2? Not really.
Yeah,
nothing special.
And then I'll see if there's like some cool miniseries or some crime on like the Norwegian state TV. You have like this tradition in Norway that every Easter on like the state channel, you have like some crime that is usually a pretty decent crime series. So I'll see what's on this year, and maybe I'll check that out.
That's assuming I'll have any extra time this weekend. If you throw a bunch of work
that's a heavy assumption, but yeah, we shall see. We shall see. And Christopher Tock says for $20, enjoy the coffee.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you so much.
I just realized I was
indeed.
Sorry, I just realized I was muted. I was like saying these jokes. I'm like, why aren't you guys responding?
I even asked you something.
Yeah, I said that I will probably watch the Snyder Cut again if Jesus makes an appearance.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I do you guys know something I don't? Because if we're gonna watch it on Easter.
Not that I know of.
Okay, well,
not getting into that conversation right now.
It's a joke.
I'm a Reformed Catholic here. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Anyways, there. For those people that want to see something very nice on Easter, there was that pretty good miniseries a few years ago called The Bible. It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
I'm trying to think of anything I got that's kind of Easter slanted besides Critters 2, and I can't think of anything.
Yeah, no,
I don't even have Ben-Hur. I've never been, and it's not that I don't. I just never.
Well, then that's something to seek out. Then to everyone in the chat who hasn't seen it, that's like one of the all-time movie classics. I believe it's on 4K. I believe I have browsed and seen it on 4K disc. I think I have.
Then maybe I'll get it for this weekend off of your recommendation.
Yeah. And Brandon Wolf says, I will take kids and wife to theater to see this movie. It looks like fun. Plus, this movie feels like anti-current woke Hollywood. So double win. Indeed. There you go. And Paulie, you were saying.
Oh, no, just as far as, Ben-Hur, don't see the remake. And
No. The original only.
The original, well, that was a remake too. The 1959 one was a remake as well.
Maybe the new one is, but not.
Yeah, don't see the new one.
Okay, fine. When I say original, I mean probably not the first version of it.
The Charlton Heston version is not
the Charlton Heston one. That is the one that you want.
That's the OG.
It may not be the original, but that's the OG one anyway.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
Yes.
And on the topic of Easter movies. Etienne Falardeau recommends Jesus Christ Superstar every Easter. Not a bad choice. And I saw someone else recommend.
I've never seen the movie.
Oh, that was, when I was little.
No, I take that back. I seen it when I was younger, probably.
We were still living in East LA, and we went to a doubleheader, and on Whittier Boulevard in Atlantic, they had this old movie theater, gorgeous. The building's still there. It was a double header of Jesus Christ Superstar and The Exorcist.
Quite a mix.
Yeah. That's why I am how I am.
Interesting choice.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Romy said, "Why is that?"
I would be more like, was they put together on purpose, or did your mom just take you to one and then take you to the other? That's my question, I guess.
They were put together. I can't.
Who
say
the
why.
fuck puts those together?
I mean,
that's like putting Dumbo with Nightmare on Elm Street.
Hey man, I loved it.
I'm not.
I'm seriously. I can see why. Like if you go and see The Exorcist, you get the scared or the crap scared out of you, and then now come to Jesus and be saved afterwards. It's going to be like quite efficient.
You've got like a PG movie or probably a G movie, if I'm not mistaken, up against an R-rated film.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Well, I was so young though. I don't think I really knew what was going on. Probably not until I
Now, if you were showing the Passion of the Christ next to The Exorcist, I could understand a little bit.
Yeah, or like Sander says, The Last Temptation of Christ for Easter. But
there you go. Also, there's a trilogy for you. You get to watch. You get tortured, then you get to watch The Temptation, and you get to watch some shit that'll scare the hell out of you and make you believe in God by the end of it.
Yeah, good times. That's a good choice right there.
Or watch it in reverse order.
Yeah. And Patrick Mulligan says he just finished the Justice League for the first time. He kind of liked it more than the Snyder Cut. More fun and traded depth of character for a more sensible plot.
You know, I've said this blasphemous thing that I actually like Superman better in the Joss Whedon cut.
I just saw Batman versus Superman again. The
Just Superman, though.
Well, Man of Steel or 78 Superman?
No. I mean, I like the version of Superman in the Joss Whedon version. Better than I do in the Snyder cut. Because spoilers for those who really haven't seen it, but it's not much of a spoiler. In the Snyder cut, all he does is show up and kick somebody. That's about it. He at least feels like he's a changed person when we see him in the other version. In this one, he's just got a different outfit on. I mean, it's not that big a difference.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'm one of those guys like them. Oh, well. Did you see the other one before?
Me? I've seen the Whedon version.
The other one.
Yeah.
I mean,
did you see the? Did you like the banter of who's faster?
That's a classic scene.
I liked it right up until the Flash started running.
That's like the.
Well, yeah, but I'm not gonna make excuses for that. That's Ezra. You want to fight Miller?
That's
So I thought it was all right, but it's not like that. Like I loved it or anything. So yeah.
And then David March wants to call out even more of our film knowledge. No, we're talking about.
But honestly, check out Ben-Hur from 1925 too. We all need a few silent movies in our life to appreciate the masters. In 1907, they were still trying. In 1925, they had mastered the art of cinema. So absolutely, I haven't seen the 1925 one myself, but I'm sure it's probably going to be pretty decent.
I have.
If one is into silent films. How is it?
Amazing, and stars Mexico's Ramon Novarro as Ben.
Oh, see, there you go. I told you it's going to be good. I knew it was going to be.
That's a Midnight's Edge special we'll do in Espanol.
Well, and I jumped a few super chats, so you may want to go back.
Yeah. We have. We're going to do a couple of more, then we're going to get into the main topics of today. Gaijin Grimpora says, for another $20, thank you so much. The reason for the janky shots in Godzilla versus King Kong is because when they were cutting the American version, the director cut the print and not the copy, which caused them to have to use a lower resolution version for some shots.
Well, that would do it.
Good going.
That makes sense, and that's where I said it makes sense that, like, because it's not a lot of the movie, it's just a few shots, like here and there throughout mostly the beginning, which is what was mostly reworked for the American version. So that makes sense. Because I'm trying to remember, I don't think there's too many shots when we get to the fighting and the main bits of the film. So the rest of that, from my memory, is all in HD. So, or at least from a film print, I could tell.
And Brandon Wolf says, Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments for Passover, the Chosen for Easter. In my opinion, life-changing for Christians. Shows Christ in a light I never thought about. All right, yeah. Ben-Hur and the Ten Commandments. There you have some recommendations for Easter movies right there. And then we have Patrick Mulligan, who says, Prince of Egypt and Ben-Hur are my favorite Bible films. Ares wonders, Andre, did you see Beforeigners? Nice series. Actually, no, I haven't gotten around to it. Like, I haven't seen too many of our like local produced Viking stuff. I really, really should, but I haven't. I saw like the trailer and I was like, oh, God, that looks so dumb. And maybe it's great, but I haven't gotten around to seeing it.
That's from Norway?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's a Norwegian series. It's about like Vikings suddenly like jumping forward in time to present age.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good. Sounds unique. Different.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. But like when you have like those high concept things here locally, I have like a hard time accepting them. So So yeah, but I probably have to get over that and just watching it. And then Patrick Mulligan says, "Fun Ben Hur fact: the chariot race was used as a template for the episode 1 pod race. Pay attention, and you will see the same beats and interactions." Yeah, you see, there you go. George Lucas, he went with the masters. Sleepy Panda sent us a super sticker, so thank you so much for that. And speaking of spoilers, Karasu Yaiba says, "Spoiler for the Bible: Jesus comes back to life." Another spoiler, but only for a while.
I hadn't got that far yet.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah. And Tasman627 says, "For $15, thank you so much. The 10 Commandments is my all-time favorite." That is a great movie, though. It really, really is. Hypergiver 2 wishes everyone a blessed Ostara. And Ty Arleson says, for $10, "Lilies of the Field with Sidney Poitier and the Miracle of Our Lady of Fatima every Easter. And I'm not religious." Well, if you don't have to be to enjoy some great movies. That's like the thing. And with that...
Actually, there is a new Fatima movie I want to see. It came out last year. So that's you know what? Maybe we'll watch that this weekend. And Romy is Portuguese, so Fatima is the Virgin Mary appearing in Portugal.
All right, very cool. All right, with that, let us now get into the main topics. And the first one we promised was some Star Wars, namely Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Polly, did you get around to checking out the trailer for Bad Batch?
I just saw it a few minutes ago.
Yes, and what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, well, trying to separate it, everything from Star Wars, which is really difficult right now, right?
Yeah.
It looks cool. I remember those characters from the Clone Wars, and then I believe some of them return in Rebels as their older versions of themselves. And I don't remember like their final fate, or I think they're, if they're left. I'm not one of those guys that knows every episode, even though I've seen all of Clone Wars. But yeah, that it looked cool, and I guess it's Tarkin's after them, so to speak, to wipe them out. Not bad. Of course, there's like, I guess some like little kid or something that's following them. So I don't know about that. Like, why can't it just be the bad dudes? The Bad Batch. Other than that, it's yeah, it's not bad. Oh, they're not in Rebels? I thought one or two of them as their older selves were in it. I think someone help me out here as far as
I have no clue.
I only watched like the first 3 episodes of Rebels, dude. I thought maybe Commander Cody or something like that was in Rebels, but I don't know if he was a member of the Bad Batch. I have no idea.
I remember seeing an old. I remember seeing an episode where there's like an old version of themselves, and they're the clunky ass, kind of like rover whatever tank, and they've been living by themselves, kind of like staying on their own, and then they were featured in one episode or something like that. Rex was in Rebels. I think there was more than that, but listen, I'm not like, again.
Yeah, that's my problem is I'm not familiar with it. So sorry, guys.
Okay, well, it looks like Wolf and Rex were. Well, that's part of the Bad Batch, guys.
I have no idea. So
don't mean to upset anybody here. There you go. Bad Batch was season 7 of Clone Wars. Well, it was 4 episodes. It was the first 4 episodes of the last season of Clone Wars, which some were saying were the best, and then they kind of went woke in the middle with the Martez sisters, which was stupid as hell as far as storylines, and then at the end of season 7 was pretty decent. Which I believe went right into Revenge of the Sith. I'm trying to remember the timelines, but those first 4 episodes were really good, and the last couple episodes were pretty cool. Some will say that Ahsoka was a little too, bestest ever, but I thought she kicked ass in some of those fight scenes.
Yeah, well, the videos, the trailer anyway, is the only video that Star Wars has dropped lately that's gotten any significant views and hasn't been ratioed to shit. So at least that it's got going for it. But I found a different kind of bad batch this morning. In honor of Trans Day of Visibility, we're proud to unveil their exclusive cover highlighting Tarek and Sarat, trans non-binary Jedi. Who gives a fuck?
Well, evidently the creators. So it's very, very important to virtue signal, especially and this is like my observation. When I looked at the trailer for the Bad Batch, I don't know these characters. I've never seen any of the animated Star Wars thing, not even one episode, because the animation has just put me off so badly that I've decided that's not for me. And when I saw that trailer, even without knowing nothing, if that had been live action, I'd be all in on it, because it looked like a really, really cool concept. And I didn't see like anything overtly political or anything like that. It just looked like good, plain fun. If it was live action, I'd watch the hell out of it. That's what I see. And I think also that's part of the reason why this one has some serious use. One is like an official trailer. It's going to be embedded absolutely everywhere. To everyone that doesn't usually follow these things, they're still going to see this trailer right here. It's going to show up in their recommended feeds and everything. So people that don't follow anything to do with Star Wars, that don't know the politics or anything that's going on there, they will still be treated to this trailer. So then, of course, not knowing anything, yeah, you're going to watch it and you're going to judge it on its own merits. And on its own merits, it's a good trailer. It's as simple as that. And if you then on top of that, like Polly, if you have seen what they've done before and you like that, there ain't no way that trailer right there is going to get ratioed. It's that simple.
Yeah.
But then, of course, as we said, this one didn't have like any kind of overtly political agenda. So, of course, the same day, they have to make a point out of emphasizing, no, we're still the Kennedy faction. This is what we do. This is how we roll.
Well, this is more from Filoni.
That's Filoni, and it says from the studios that created Clone Wars. I mean, that's way
that would explain it.
Pre-K. That's pre-KK. That's why they put it in there.
So that basically that's a Lucas faction. You have like kind of like 3 factions. You have like the Kennedy faction that we know everything about. You have the Favreau faction of newcomers that are with Favreau. And you have the Lucasfilm faction, who are the people that were always there and who are closer to the Favreau faction. And this is obviously their work. This is like real Star Wars right here.
Well, I'm not convinced that Filoni gives a shit about anything but himself. But anyway, we'll get into that in another day and time. As far as the trailer goes, like I said, I have no real opinion on it because I'm just so give a fuck about Star Wars anymore, and I have zero frame of reference for this. But I know it's got its fan base, so I'm not surprised by the ratio all around being good, I guess. So yeah, I mean, for those who enjoy it, here you go. Good for you. You got something to look forward to. I mean, that's the best I can say at this point, because I mean, I just I'm not a big fan of the style of animation to begin with.
No, that's what kills it for me. Like if this had been in live action, I'd be all over it. That's how good.
Or at least like the 2D, what was his name? Who did the Samurai Jack? Who did the other Clone Wars?
That guy, Genndy Tarkovsky. Yeah, that guy.
If it's in that kind of a style, I'd be all over that maybe. But like, yeah, that's what turned me off from Clone Wars to begin with. Was when they switched to that other style and it was like, oh no, by that way, that other thing doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't count. It's like, yeah, but that other thing was fucking cool, and it was the only badass thing we got to see out of what's his face, the spray bottle guy in Revenge of the Sith, General Grievous. Because in the movie, he's nothing but just, you know. But then at least in that one, he's a badass. He kills like 5 Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, Jesus, you know.
Oh, so we got to see how he got all those swords.
Yeah, and why he in a different version of how why he sounds like that, because Mace Windu grabbed his windpipe and crushed it. That's why he's all.
Okay,
well, you never seen the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars? Oh yeah, it's the first time we got to see General Grievous, and it's actually like a really cool scene because it's like you got a couple of Jedi and they're all you can see is with their lightsabers, whatever, and all you hear is like because he's like crawling around on the walls and shit. Like around them, and then he just like drops down and he like just fucking slices them all up. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the thing. Is like, you know, even with this, it's like I wouldn't even known about it if it wasn't like I didn't get an alert from Star Wars Theory that he did a reaction, or when they had their media day. Was it a few months ago when they announced all their shows? And it was like Bad Batch. Oh, okay. You know, but I had forgotten about it, honestly.
Yeah, the real Clone War. Yeah, see, people are on my side with that one. That Grievous was truly terrifying. See,
yeah.
And he's not so much because he just comes off like a bitch in the movie, and then you realize why he's kind of like that is because he used to be a badass, and then he faced Mace Windu, and Mace Windu handed him his ass, kind of.
Yeah, and Mace Windu, he was a real badass MF, simple as that. So it would be cool to see him back again at some point. Master Clockwork says, Tom, how about Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey or the original Tron as a good Easter flick?
There's an Easter? Tron takes place during Easter?
Do they have any kind of Easter connection there? Well,
I'm trying to remember. Maybe it does. I don't know. I forgot if it did. But yeah, Bill and Ted there is. Too bad the deleted scenes had more to do with that than what's in the film. But there's a little bit of an Easter storyline there. That's true.
And with that, let's try to get into the main topic of today, because I do believe we have covered the Bad Batch as well as we possibly can. We haven't really got anything more to say other than that the trailer looked pretty decent, unless you have something more to add.
He says they made that non-canon, which I knew that already. I said that before, but he says Grievous is just itchy now. That's why he coughs. Like that's the reason they give in fucking Clone Wars.
Okay, that's bullcrap. That's bullcrap. Like something horrible had to have happened to him. I'll
take the other version better. I like thinking that Mace Windu crushed his windpipe.
Yeah, that is much cooler.
Because he is kind of supposed to be a predecessor to Vader. He's like this live being, but he's inside this robotic body, and there's like really not much left to him but his lungs and his heart and his, just very in his brain, I think, and that's about it, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So he used to be a person. Like that's kind of the whole point, or at least an alien of some type, anyway.
With that, then, let us move on to Godzilla and Kong. Well, actually, we have a question here from who wonders, so do you guys think Omega is a clone like the rest of the Bad Batch? I have no
zero
clue.
Frame of reference.
Yeah,
other than yeah.
I think I missed it when I watched the trailer. Was Omega the little kid?
I don't know,
because that's the only new character I saw, other than Tarkin. Like, go wipe them out.
The only difference I know is if they're a clone or whatever. It depends on if they have the growth hormone or whatever in them to how old they can be.
Yeah. So
because that's the whole reason.
Yeah, Omega is the kid. Okay.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell if the kid was a boy or a girl.
So it's another Boba Fett.
Oh, here we go. So yeah, I don't know. Oh man, Again,
it's a good question. If anybody in the chat knows, feel free to help out with that. Sorry, we couldn't give a better answer.
Yeah.
This is one morning I wish I had some of my Star Wars chicks with me because they know this shit.
I know, where are they,
And
man?
Roddy Mitchell also has, like, on the Easter movie, Conan is brought back to life in Conan the Barbarian. Works as an Easter movie for me. I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, you have
help me now, I say the hell with you.
Easter topic right there. And Sleepy Panda.
Yeah.
And the Sleepy Panda says, short discussion on Bad Batch. Yeah, well, when only one of us have any kind of frame of reference, not going to be much of discussion.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into really too much Godzilla versus Kong, but there's a few things we want to cover before we get into the actual review part too.
Yes, there is indeed. First of all, Roger H says, Omega reminds me of the kid from the Ewoks movie.
Which one? The little girl or the other kid? They're both kind of annoying either way, I guess. So.
And the Jester of Sin says, look, Disney downplaying the colored guy again. Mace Windu is a bad. He is indeed.
To be fair, Disney had nothing to do with that. That was Filoni.
Yeah, it was indeed.
And George must have let him do it, so I don't know why they would do that, because that went along with how Obi-Wan killed him in the movie. Because that's the thing. Remember, he rips open his chest plate and he's got his lungs in there and he shoots him. And his heart and shit. You can see it like pumping and stuff.
Yeah, like he blew up like his organ sac or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But he already had those organs were like so nasty.
Well, that's my point. Was like he was supposed to be.
He won't miss them then.
He was supposed to, and that's what George said. He was kind of supposed to be like a predecessor to Vader. Like he was kept alive just barely by like all this mechanical shit. Mm-hmm. He used to be a being of some type, but not anymore. He's just like lungs and a brain, and that's it.
Yeah,
and a heart, and that's all.
Yeah. But Tom, you said you had some other news before we get into Godzilla and Kong, and I have some too. But let's do your first.
Mine is related to Kong and Godzilla, and that was just going to be about the theaters opening up and some of that kind of stuff. But what did you have? That was it related to that or something else?
Yes, it is. Mortal Kombat got pushed back.
Yes,
it got pushed back so that Godzilla versus Kong could have like some more space to breathe. Yeah, that's quite a contrast from what happened with the Snyder Cut.
And this kind of goes with my question earlier. Do you think we'll see kind of a reverse in other places? Like, they might move some movies back up. They might open some movies that were planned for later on this year. I wonder if that's going to happen. I mean, they move these movies around so much now. And here we are heading into April, which is kind of like now the beginning of the summer season, since February and March have been notorious now for kicking off the summer season in the past few years, since like Deadpool and stuff. Do you see some change in the movies coming out besides Mortal Kombat?
Oh, absolutely. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't, because you have like the Warner and Disney, they own their own streaming service. So the only movies from them that I would expect any kind of change to is where you have like really, really strong third party that really wants some of that box office gross. Like, for instance, Dune. If things start opening up a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if that suddenly gets delayed a little bit before coming to HBO Max. But that may not be a day and date after all. Beyond that, as it is right now, they can shift any movie in any direction they feel like. Because as it is now, it's mostly all streaming anyway. And the things that aren't streaming, well, they're still a good few weeks into the future. So they can change it at any moment in time. We can get a whole slew of change announcements tomorrow.
Yeah, I think honestly the only thing Warner's going to change at this point, and that's going to be just the move they made now, and that's for Kong and Godzilla, and anything else. I think you're right. If they move anything, it might be Dune, and what it will be is I think they might move it to like July in theaters, and then it won't be on HBO Max until like August or whatever.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
Are they reinserting the Toto score?
No. They should. But
yeah, man.
And get Sting to come in and finally do a song on the soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
Well, it could be that that you will find it referenced, like, because there's plenty references in the rest of the movie. So maybe Hans Zimmer will.
They can only do
like
passing
some cues
references,
into it.
though, I'm sure, because anything that's specific to that movie, they can't do anything with. It has to be something from the books. So yeah.
Yeah, well, they can do the designs 25% different.
So yeah, basically that's what it would have to be. It's the same kind of idea, but yeah.
Yeah, same basic idea. And I wouldn't be surprised if there is like some audible clues or cues to the original soundtrack. But honestly, I think that Zimmer is going to want to do mostly his own direction. So that prophecy theme.
Oh, fuck, it's Zimmerman?
What?
Zimmerman ain't done a good score since fucking...
Yeah, I do believe it's Zimmerman, isn't it? I think it sounds Zimmerman.
Oh no!
I mean, to me,
that's
the best thing of the old movie.
Yeah, it is Hans Zimmerman who has the Dune score. It absolutely is. So yeah, we'll see if what he will do with it. That'll be very interesting to find out. But what I'm a little bit more annoyed with is that Mortal Kombat got pushed back because of all the upcoming movies right now. Between now and Dune, the one that I was looking forward to the most was Mortal Kombat, and now we have to wait longer for it. Which I'm not pleased by. I can't lie about that. I would like to say, it's just like 1 week delay, but still, that's a 1 week delay that annoys me. I was like mentalized to see it in 2 weeks, not in almost a month. So I don't know if you care anything.
It is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah,
it is a bit of a bummer, but I can understand why they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things, you just,
it's not a huge thing because we're talking because originally it was scheduled to be released on April 16th. And then instead now they've pushed it back to April 23rd. So again, it's not a huge deal, and it will still premiere both in movie theaters and on HBO Max. But what this tells me is that they must be relatively confident about the theatrical release of Godzilla vs. Kong, because that's the only way they would do this, because you wouldn't do this just for streaming alone. It has to be the theatrical release that is informing this decision. Wouldn't you think, Tom, or am I completely wrong?
I mean, you could look at it from a way that spacing it out on HBO Max is not only a good thing for theatrical release, but a good thing for HBO Max, because they know that Kong is going to do and Godzilla is going to do better than expected. So it'll probably boost HBO Max as well. They might even see a bigger boost than what the Snyder Cut did. And if that happens, then yeah, I mean, it makes more sense to hold off Mortal Kombat because that's another boost. Don't keep it so close. That's why I was kind of curious why some of these were so close together originally. I'm like, why would you do that? You'd just put one a month on there and you'd be fine. I mean, maybe a couple, but not that many big ones together anyway.
Yeah, the closest one was actually the Snyder Cut, followed so closely by Godzilla vs. Kong. That's like a sign of like to someone trying to drown it.
I wonder if maybe that's part of the reason is they saw like shit, it's taking people a little longer to watch the Snyder Cut. Maybe we're kind of cannibalizing ourselves a little bit, and we should have pushed Kong and Godzilla off a little bit more, or released, Snyder Cut a little sooner. Because, like I said, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Because I mean, I'm sure like they'll get a little bit more of attention from Godzilla versus Kong. But one of the stories I wanted to bring up is something that we're going to be touching on in another video, so I didn't want to get too deep into it. But that was, we're finally getting a little bit of pushback from AT&T on how well the Snyder Cut is done, and is done better than a lot of the other people at Warner Brothers are trying to admit, which we already knew, nothing new. But that's what we were saying last week, was AT&T has to clap back in some way, or this is going to be the narrative. And it took them a little bit, but they finally did. And
because they were waiting for the numbers. And now when we have more and more numbers, the numbers are painting a stronger and stronger picture of the Snyder Cut as a genuine hit for HBO Max.
I wouldn't say it's a huge hit, but it's a genuine hit. That's for sure.
That's what I said, a genuine hit.
I mean, it's doing on par with Wonder Woman. So for what they can ask for, I guess that's good. I guess
I would say that's a huge win, because what people forget like this one thing right here, namely that the Snyder Cut is its own separate thing, unrelated to the whole Justice League movie. That is something that's been written off completely. The Snyder Cut is a new $100 million production, and it's massively successful, especially if it's in the same ballpark as Wonder Woman 84, which, if you will recall, was supposed to be a wide theatrical release, released in the holiday season. And they even, before dumping it, they told the cast and the director and everything that we're going to pay you bonuses as if it had been $1 billion movie. So they are out, I don't know, maybe 400 million or something like that on that movie. In no universe should it and the Snyder Cut perform in the same ballpark, but they do, and that's a huge win for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, and we kind of have a number to go on. I believe they said they figured they had 1 million new people sign up the day that it came out. And if you figure just counting that, okay, let's just say a rough number of 1 million people signed up just to watch that. So that's $15. That means if you were going by theatrical tickets, and that's just by one account per person, not even if you're counting like a family, if it was that's like around $150 million for like an opening weekend. So yeah, for a normal movie, that's not a huge, I mean, that's about all it's really going to kind of bring in if you think about that. But hey, that's not bad for something they spent $100 million on, and all the money's going right in their pocket. You know what I mean? No, and that's where I was saying is that where they probably hurt themselves by pushing out Kong so early is, now they could have maybe seen a little bit more growth if they'd have waited. You know what I mean? Like that's where maybe they're like, well, shit, we should push off Mortal Kombat since that was a little bit farther out, kind of thing. For both reasons, not just because Godzilla versus Kong is going to do so well, but just because they've seen the Snyder Cut was doing so well and they're kind of cannibalizing themselves now.
Yeah, that's like the thing, because it's not so much that they're cannibalizing, it's that they're not. Well, in a way, it kind of is, but because
that's what I'm saying. It kind of is because all these people you had sign up now for the Snyder Cut are going to get to watch Godzilla vs. Kong, as opposed to if they had to wait a month, they would have kept the service. Yeah. And so now the money that they're making off of that sign up is being split between the two, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. So the problem wasn't that they pushed back Mortal Kombat. Problem was that they didn't push back Godzilla versus Kong and Mortal Kombat, or better yet, they should have moved up the Snyder Cut by like
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. That's with that, I'm in complete agreement. But still, it's very interesting to see, though, that Warner Media, they were so desperate to put it out there, get the narrative going that no, we're ending the Snyderverse before they had any kind of numbers. Implication being that, it was failure. Now we have the numbers, and the numbers tell a very different story. The numbers actually say this is something worthwhile. If they can keep the budgets in check, they can continue the Snyderverse and be very profitable by doing so. That's what the numbers are saying here.
Yeah, and if I'm reading the other number correctly, I think it was 64% of the people that have HBO Max watched the Snyder Cut. So that means if they have, what was the last number they reported? I think it was 70 million. So 64% is 70 million plus the million they added. I mean, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all. That's their decision to release and pay for the Snyder Cut validated. That's what that is.
That's enough for me to where I could see them start actually seriously considering, maybe if not a sequel, at least a spin-off series on HBO Max.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It can be the same thing. They don't have to go and spend ton of money making a Justice League 2 and then a Justice League 3. The sensible thing to do is to get all the actors back, and then you do a 10 or 12 episode miniseries where you tell the exact same stories that you would have over the course of 2 4-hour movies. Yeah, like to say, like you could have cut the Snyder Cut into 4 1-hour episodes. Assume that you can do the same thing then with Justice League Parts 2 and 3. That's 4 episodes each. Then you have an 8-episode miniseries. Commission an 8-episode miniseries to finish the trilogy. Film it in one production cycle. Release it as for instance, in 2 seasons, and boom, you're good to go. There you have Continue the Snyderverse. Can't go wrong with it.
Right.
I'm sure that someone must be contemplating that right about now.
Let's get on to the super chats.
Yes, we have received.
We can start talking about some Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes, we're going to get into Godzilla versus Kong, and no, we're not going to go into spoilers just yet. When we do, there will be ample warnings first, because we know that some of you will have seen the movie. Others of you are just waking up and haven't had the time to do so just yet. So I'm going to start with some super chats that we can't get up on screen yet. The importer says for $2 Canadian, won't see Godzilla versus Kong because Chun-Li is not in it. Yeah, that's a huge loss right there, isn't it? And House Atreides says, finished reading Ready Player 2. Loved the mano-a-mano epic battle. I felt the book was too short. Should have gone into the low 5 more. Good read. Well, yeah, there you have it. House Atreides recommends Ready Player 2. House Atreides also says, have you guys seen The Creation of the Humanoids from 1962? Andy Warhol's favorite movie. Also why this movie still exists. I loved how it ended. Polly, have you seen The Creation of the Humanoids? Polly, you're muted.
He said BRB, so he's
okay. Tom, have you seen The Creation of the Humanoids?
I'm trying to remember. I know it, but I'm trying to remember if I've actually seen it. I remember the toys. I don't know if I've ever seen the show.
Yeah, I haven't. But due to your recommendation, I'll be on the lookout for it, and maybe I'll check it out. But
unless I'm thinking of something completely different.
Doesn't sound like anything that there would be toys from. So I think maybe you're thinking of something different. But I'll be on the lookout for it.
That might be what I might be thinking of something completely different then.
Yeah, and Polaris Sucks says, "Hail Tom and gang. Give you this instead of coffee." Oh, thank you. Thank you for the $2 Canadian super chat. And House Atreides says, 3 cheers for adult supervision, aka the wrenches. Yes, indeed. So massive kudos to all the wrenches. We couldn't do this without you. And then my countryman Tebios Tubak says for 20 Norwegian krona, where does the 1 million number come from? Which 1 million number specifically? You mean like the
I just
the number you said?
Yeah, I just was going off of stuff that I had read real quick this morning.
Yeah, I think it was in Deadline Hollywood. Wasn't it there?
That, or it was in Bloomberg had one of them.
Bloomberg had one. Yeah, that makes sense.
And the Bloomberg one, I think, was where it was either a 64% increase or whatever, and like 1.9 million downloads, if I'm looking at it correctly, of the app. And that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And these then would be numbers that are given by AT&T straight to Bloomberg. So there's
1.48 million downloads. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so 64% change. I don't know what that means, but the Bloomberg article is where I got that from.
Yeah. There will be an update video on it before long. And
you'll understand this shit better than I do. So
Yeah, I just haven't had time to get into it. I just see this movie.
And I can't read it because I don't have a subscription to Bloomberg as well. That's the other problem.
Yeah. And Chad Curtis says, fire Bob Chapek. Get it to trend. A man gives a chimp a gun, and the chimp kills someone. You don't blame the chimp. Quote by Marcy Darcy. Marcy Darcy, that was like the second wife of the woman in Bundy, wasn't it? As in, like, married with she
was always there.
children.
She had 2 husbands, though.
Yeah, I know. But she was only Marcy Darcy with the second husband.
I believe you're right, yes.
Yeah. I think it must be Marcy Darcy from Married with Children, one of the greatest sitcoms ever created.
Yes, that would be the actress that did not get along with, what's his face, Ed O'Neill.
Ed O'Neill. Yeah, and you could totally tell on screen, and that was fantastic. And Mech 1164
characters, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mech 1164 says AT&T may be contemplating what Andre is talking about. I doubt anyone at Warner is doing that. They'll have to be rode roughshod to get it done. Yeah, that's what happened with Snyder Cut. And you have like 2 separate DC divisions there. You have like the AT&T DC division that kind of like emerged around getting the Snyder Cut done, plus the one doing like the great stuff that they're so excited about, like, Wonder Woman 84 and Birds of Prey, and will continue to do that stuff. So you have like 2 teams, but I absolutely think that someone in AT&T are very carefully considering that let's continue with this, and then it doesn't matter what Ann Sarnoff told Variety before any numbers were in. AT&T isn't bound by that. And with that,
goes with your famous saying, meaning it is dead until it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. And then Dash Des says, if they do another Justice League, who'd be the villains? Well, just continue the story, I guess. Bring in the new gods.
Well, yeah, they're kind of setting up Darkseid or whatever, so yeah.
Yeah, just continue from there. And with that, let us now start getting into the main topic of today, namely Godzilla versus Kong. And first, we have complete non-spoiler talk. So guys, remember, absolutely no spoilers until we give the very clear say-so. But before we do that, to anyone that's wondering, I want to hear where you guys stand on both Godzilla and on Kong. What's your history with the franchise, both historically, now with the MonsterVerse, and how excited were you going in to Godzilla versus Kong? So, Paulie, let's begin with you. What does Godzilla and Kong respectively mean to you?
Yeah, I think ever since I was a kid, I've watched all the films, especially the 76 King Kong, which was really dated now, but it was pretty cool back then. Jessica Lange as the damsel. And then I kind of got out of it. I thought the 98 Godzilla was pretty bad. And but this last few ones since 2014 have been a lot of fun, silly fun. And but I think my heart is with King Kong.
Yeah. What does King Kong mean to you? What about that franchise?
Kong?
Yeah.
No, I love Kong.
So, which movies resonated with you most? Like, with the original, the 76 movie, the 2005 movie. What are your thoughts on the different ones there?
Well, I've seen I've seen them all, and I recently saw Skull Island again. I like each one for different reasons. The 76 is my childhood. Again, I remember the hand coming into the shot and grabbing Jessica Lange. I always remember that. The Jackson versus the dinosaur was pretty killer.
There's Dino De Laurentiis with the famous hand.
Yeah,
about.
I thought that was pretty killer. Skull Island was all right, you know. But I really like this Kong. I mean, he got a lot bigger too, a lot older. But I really liked this Kong in this movie that I saw.
All right, cool. Tom, how about you? Your history with both Godzilla and King Kong, respectively.
Well, Godzilla, I have a little less of a history with. I mean, I found Godzilla on like late night TBS and USA Network showings on Saturdays and Fridays and whatnot as a kid. But Kong was one of my first movie experiences. Seeing the '76 Kong on television in the extended cut scared the hell out of me. And I told that story not too long ago, where I actually freaked out so much that we were on a camping trip and I forced my parents to take me home. And then, I finally saw the 33 Kong, I think, when Turner Classic finally got the rights to it, when they had remastered it and shown it on television for the first time in like 30 years or whatever it was. And of course, growing up, the 76 Kong was always a favorite. And then I fell in love with the original. I actually enjoyed the Peter Jackson Kong quite a bit. And I thought Kong Skull Island was the best of the Godzilla Kong films so far. And as far as Godzilla goes, I liked those films. And I thought the Matthew Broderick Godzilla was okay for a monster movie, but it was definitely not a Godzilla movie. And as far as the classic Godzillas, I mean, I love them all, but ironically, my favorite of the classics has got to be King Kong versus Godzilla. So it was kind of cool to finally get a new version of it. But yeah, how about you, Andre?
Well, the one that I have any kind of history with, like real history, is King Kong. My first recollections is watching bits and pieces of the original 1933 classic that was on TV when I was a kid. So when I was like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, something like that, I remember being impressed by the stop motion of like the dinosaur and stuff like that. That kind of like blew me away. I was actually a bigger fan of the dinosaur than I was of King Kong himself, I think. That's like my first recollections. The King Kong that I remember the most growing up with, like the first time I kind of like got the story, was the 1976 movie. That was like the King Kong that I grew up with and that I could like see.
I think most of us did, yeah.
And then I registered the existence of the sequel, the one with Linda Hamilton from 1986. I registered that they have it like in like one of my local VHS rental stores when those were still around.
Yeah.
I registered that they had it, but I was never interested enough to actually rent it. It looked like just a cheap cash grab.
It's one of those so bad it's good movies, but yeah.
Before I knew what that was, I still conceptually grasped that movie was one of those. And then the 2005 movie, I didn't quite see like the point other than it was like a prestige project for Peter Jackson. I went to see it. I saw that loads and loads of people were super engaged about it, to the point that the audience, I saw this at Odeon in Bath Spa in the UK, and the audience there, they were so into it that like fist fights actually broke out between people that wanted to talk in the movies and those that didn't want the people that wanted to talk. So yeah, only time I've seen a fist fight in the theater. So yeah, good times. And that movie was like fine, but it didn't rock my world or anything like that. So yeah, like King Kong, fine. Respect the importance of the original movie, but not a huge fan after that. Now, Godzilla, that's a completely different story. I think that the first time I knew of or learned of the existence of Godzilla was actually when I was in America. First time I was there was in the summer of 1995. And in the hotel where my family was staying, and this was in Virginia, we were in, where was it? We were by Virginia Beach, and yeah, by close to the Norwegian Lady Plaza, ironically. So we were in Virginia Beach. We were there for like 2 weeks, and because my father was working at Camp Lejeune at the time, so we were holed up there. And there they had HBO on TV, and there they showed Godzilla versus King Kong, or King Kong versus Godzilla, whichever the order. I latched onto it because it had King Kong in the title. So I was like intrigued for that, plus some other thing I had no idea what was. And then I saw that movie. So I was like, I was freaking hilarious. It was really hilarious. Like I laughed my ass off. So yeah, that was like my first meeting with Godzilla. And then the remake came later. By that time, I had already seen Godzilla vs. Kong when I was on that vacation in America. And so I knew from there and references other places that there must be more to Godzilla than just this movie. But I swear to you, most of my countrymen in the summer of 1997, when that movie came, thought that this was the first original real Godzilla. Because it was difficult to be exposed to anything else. I think now more people are aware, but at the time, most people, I think, generally thought that was the original. And I had never seen the original Godzilla at that time. I didn't have any frame of reference other than Godzilla vs. Kong, the Toho movie. So I thought that movie was really entertaining when I first saw it. And only much later, in the age of DVD, was I able to see the original Godzilla, which I think is a great piece of cinema for its message and philosophy and everything that went into it. With the whole Castle Bravo incident, and the other movies, I'm simply not able to see. I just can't get into them as an adult. It can't be done. I can't watch them. I've tried several times, and I'm simply not able to. So I know of them because I watched the Angry Video Game Nerds Godzilla-thon. The only other one that I have seen from beginning to end is Shin Godzilla, and I freaking love that movie. That's a masterpiece. One of the best remakes ever. The 2014 Godzilla, didn't like it. Godzilla King of Monsters, the new one, was okay, didn't love it. Kong Skull Island, didn't love it, was okay, liked the design of King Kong. Trailer for this one blew me away, and I would never have expected that to happen. So I was actually looking forward to this movie. I really was. Who would have thought? So yeah, now when we know where we all stand, what did you think of this movie? Like first, brief impressions. What did you think, Paulie? No spoilers, just like your general impressions of the movie itself. Then we'll dig into details afterwards.
Yeah, I had fun. I had a great, it was a great popcorn movie. Loved King Kong, and I loved how they went right into it. Those are my first impressions. I mean, good silly fun, and I loved both King Kong and Godzilla. I think it was, yeah. I don't want to, because then I'll start, with the storyline. So those are my first impressions. It's hard not to talk about the storyline. That's my first impressions there.
Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. It's definitely a popcorn movie. It had some issues, and those issues, ironically, were the issues that it carried over from the last film, and we'll get into that more so when we get into spoilers. But outside of that, I was, for the most part, thoroughly impressed. The effects were pretty good for the most part. There was some that were so-so, but outside of that, I thought they were all pretty good. I liked the newer characters, ironically, but outside of that, I'd give it like a good recommendation, thumbs up, probably like a 7 out of 10, somewhere in that region. Andre?
I like the trailer better. As you can hear, I'm obviously like not the right audience for this kind of movie, but I will say that it was entertaining. I'd put it about on par with Kong Skull Island, a movie which I liked.
Yeah,
so yeah, and I liked it. Yeah, I think I liked it more than definitely liked it more than the first 2014 Godzilla. If I liked it more or less than Godzilla King of Monsters, I think I have to rewatch to assess. But overall, yeah, it was fine. It was fine. Like, given that I'm not the audience for it, and I have to congratulate the guys that cut the trailer, because they did a fantastic, great job at it. They really did. Like, there's like some things in the movie that I have a really tough time getting behind, but overall, I thought it was entertaining. It was entertaining.
Yeah, and we'll get behind about those things because there was a few things, like I said, I had issues with too. But overall, I would say I had a lot less problems with this one than I did the last one. And I'd probably put this right on par with Skull Island. I'd have to watch them both again. I actually watched Skull Island just before I watched this because I hadn't seen that since it come out. So I was like, well, I was going to watch the other Godzilla, but I'm like, I'd rather watch Skull Island. And I enjoyed it for the most part again. So, like, I mean, it maybe went down a peg from what I recalled because Brie Larson is just fucking ugh. But no, like, it just felt a little longer this time than the first 2 times I watched it. So, in that sense. But no, I mean, I'd put it right on par with that one. And like you, I love the first half of the original Godzilla from 2014. But after what's his face gets taken out of the movie, I lose.
Yeah, after Bryan Cranston disappears. That's actually one of the greatest movie disappointments I ever had. Was when I was in the theater, and I was really enjoying it. It's like thinking, this is going to be fantastic. This is such a great start, and then he died. I was like, what the hell is this? I mean, talking about subverting expectations in the worst way possible. Because I was like literally thinking, "What? I'm here for him. I'm not here for his piece of wood."
Well, and I expected him to die, but not till the climax. Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck? Yeah,
yeah. That was lame beyond words, and that the movie never recovered from that. It really didn't. Not in my book.
No,
that was the moment when I stopped enjoying the movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's where the first film falters. And then the second film, which we did do a review of, and I remember my basic gripe was the people characters. There was too many peoples, and the too many peoples did stupid shit. Like, you really could have streamlined the story very well and easily in that Godzilla King of Monsters film. I don't know why they didn't. They made it more convoluted than it had to be. And when we get into spoilers, as I said, that's one of the issues they kind of bring over to this film. But we'll get into
think it was handled better, though, because
it was definitely handled better.
Is that you kind of like had like 2 teams of humans following 2 storylines, and one of those storylines, team of humans, added to the movie. It was the other one that completely detracted from it.
Yes,
if you could like cut down their scenes, the movie would be better.
I agree with you 100% if we're talking about the same people, because
I think we are.
Because the people that carried over from the last movie are completely unfucking necessary. I'm sorry. I'm giving away a little bit too much here, but there's no fucking reason they should be here.
Well,
they're a waste of fucking space. And when you have a movie like this that needed that real estate, it is a very big waste of the film. And we'll get into that when we get into spoilers. But outside of that, that's my biggest gripe with the movie, because it takes away from more exposition we could have used on the other ends.
Yeah, I think of all the modern ones, the people stories this one bothered me the least. You know, and even then, it's like, you know, this.
I agree with Andre, though. It was handled better than the last film. That's for sure.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But it's not as convoluted, but there's still some convolution to
it.
Yeah.
Like what exactly? So it's like, it's always going to be like, just give me more monsters. Give me more Godzilla. Give me more Kong. You know, that's always
more backstory and mythology and explanation of what is set up. How does
We're missing a Kong movie? We're missing a Kong movie here.
We are.
There was,
and that space could have been used for that. Actually, like in flashbacks or something.
You know, I mean, there's so much Kong movie there. That's what I was excited about.
Yeah, but what Andre and I are saying is, like, there's a whole nother movie, and they could do it. Like, there's like a movie in between this one and the other one, because there's a whole huge space, and they tell us what happened already. So really, there's no real reason to show it to us. But it's like, no, wait a minute, don't just tell us this shit. Show us, because again, can't get into spoilers, but the way the movie starts out and where it sets up Kong in his situation, you're just like, wait a fucking minute. There's a lot of exposition you just threw out there in just like 2 seconds. And you got to get the audience up to speed real quick, because we haven't seen this character, even though it's been a couple of years in the movie. You're literally jumping fucking almost 50 years.
I was going to say, yeah. Like,
I will also say that
Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
First one, Kong took place in 1973. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Into Vietnam. Right.
So it was almost 50 years ago.
I mean, I didn't even think about that. I'm thinking about a different Kong movie with what I saw today, with what I saw in the movie. You know, so there's you know, that movie in between from I guess from there to him, you know, showing up here. But then, you know, I'm trying not to do any spoilers from what I saw.
Well, we're gonna get there soon.
Okay, yeah,
we're gonna get there. I've already changed the thumbnail and the title of this video to indicate there's gonna be spoilers very soon.
Let's grab this super chat then. Kyle Dawson says, okay, to give Kong versus Godzilla a view if you want to save Justice League 2. Yeah, you can. One has nothing to do with the other, really. I don't know why. I don't know why.
This is something that people need to understand. Okay, here's like the thing. This is a case of a rising tide floats all boats, or however it is. It's not that either Godzilla versus Kong is successful or Zack Snyder's Justice League is successful. One has nothing to do with the other. You know what actually will help is if you have subscribed to HBO Max, you have seen the Snyder Cut, you come back and you check it out, everything else. Plus, then you also go and see everything else they have to offer, so that you show, as someone that came in for Zack Snyder's Justice League and who watches that, you watch everything else too. You know what that tells AT&T? Here's a good, loyal customer that was brought in by Justice League, and he watches other stuff too. This is someone we want. Like, there are some people out there who seem to think that the success of Godzilla versus Kong somehow is detracting for Justice League. It isn't. It really isn't. They have nothing to do with each other. I think
it's because, Andre, they decided, since they dropped the trailer on top of the other, that was Warner pitting the two against each other, when all of that was just the movie. Kong versus Godzilla was just
has nothing to do with anything. Yeah,
it was a pawn. It had nothing to do with the situation.
Exactly, nothing at all.
So all this downvoting on Godzilla versus Kong and all this shit over the Snyder.
No, please stop it, because you're embarrassing yourself.
That shit true. Like all these people that say that you actively go out on campaigns and the Snyder Cut fans are this, that, and the other. You're just proving their points. So please stop.
So that's all I can say on that. Anyone who is listening and who has like this bright idea that you're going to go and downvote, I'd like to stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. You're giving them fuel. just don't do it. Like, the only thing that is required for the Snyderverse to continue is for the Snyder Cut to be successful. It doesn't have to have anything else fail. It doesn't have to have anything else look bad. It only has to have the Snyder Cut itself be successful. That's it. That's what I put in the earlier video about, like, how do you vote for more? You vote for it by supporting the Snyder Cut. That's it. There's no negative votes. It's you support it or you don't.
Yeah, watch it legitly. That's how.
Yeah, exactly. Don't surcharge that one.
Yeah, sent in. Well, unless you have to because of your country, but then that's a rare event because I heard they did a pretty good job of making sure.
Then you can Then you can still get it on Amazon and stuff like that. So yeah.
Thundercats host sent us a 2-pound sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, or we appreciate that, I should say. Harry Partridge Live says, agree with Andre, the Cranston death being a gut punch. On par with Iron Man 3 Mandarin twist. I don't agree with the Mandarin twist, but I don't have the problem with that. Most people do. But I understand what you're saying. A twist needs to improve a movie, not the opposite.
I agree completely.
Yeah, that was kind of like a bait and switch. Because
the worst kind
possible, exactly. And then you replace him with two actors who are not even nearly on par. Now, if you wanted to have their storyline happening simultaneously, that'd be a different story. But the problem with the first movie was there was already too many human characters, and the most important and engaging one is gone within the first 45 minutes of the movie or something like that.
Yeah, just as it got good. So we got him for the build-up. So we see like, oh wow, this is going to be an amazing build-up, great detective story here as he learns more and more about the horrible truth, and then it's going to be uncovered, and we're going to follow his story as he tries to navigate around this, find a solution. Nope, all gone.
Yeah. Then Diego Flores comes in with 10 Peruvian Souls, says, I think Kong needs a movie, but at the same time, unfortunately, majority of the audience who would see this would know who is Donkey Kong and not King Kong. And meanwhile, Godzilla, everyone responds. I don't think that's true, actually. Maybe outside of the U.S., but Diego, in the U.S., Kong versus Kong Skull Island was the one that did the best financially.
Yeah. King Kong, I would actually submit that around the world, King Kong is going to be more known than Godzilla.
Yeah, he might be, actually.
It's going to depend on territory to territory, but remember, King Kong was a huge American movie. It got a huge boost in 1976, and it got a huge boost in 2005. Whereas Godzilla, like the only massive international release prior to 2014, was the 1998 movie or 97.
That's true.
It was 97. That's the only wide release Godzilla movie to be released anywhere.
Actually,
before that,
was it 97? I think it was 98. I think you're right.
I think it was 97.
You could be right, but I thought it was 98.
Well, we can find that out.
Yeah. But no, like I remember I had to point that out to you, Andre, was like, don't underestimate Kong. Like, even though people didn't really care for the Peter Jackson film, it still made a butt ton of money. And
put it this way, I had to go to America to learn of the existence of the Japanese Godzilla in 95. Because at least in my neck of the woods, of course, that's Norway. It may not be representative. But in Norway, and I was into pop culture and stuff then, I had no idea of Godzilla's existence before I came to America and saw the Japanese movie on
and
TV.
Even before that, there had only been 3, I think, Godzilla movies ever released theatrically, and that would have been the original, the second film, and maybe the second film, and then Godzilla versus Kong, I think. And then after
they were on VHS in America, plus on rotational
yeah, they did
TV,
get some, but then the American version. Well, maybe some of the older ones did get American like versions. They probably did get like minimal releases here and there. But then let me put it this way: the only Godzilla movies to ever get like a major release after that was Godzilla '85, and that was it. Like, and I barely remember that film because that film basically flopped here. And that was because they transformed Godzilla '84 and made it into a sequel to the original film by filming scenes with Raymond Burr. And I mean, you can't even get that version now, which is sad. But because I kind of like that version, it's kind of weird.
It would have
That's
been
the version I
interesting
grew up on
to get it.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah.
But you can only get the Japanese version of that one for some reason. That's the only one that has not really been able to be available on Blu-ray right now. Otherwise, you can get either all of them through Criterion, and then the rest of them after that are for the most part available. There's a few that are kind of hard to get your hands on, but only a few random ones. But no, like Kong, even though he's had less films, has always been a bit more popular. And I think they even knew that back then, and that's why he kind of won in the original Kong versus Godzilla back in the day. Because there's even that popular misconception that, you know, the Japanese version that Godzilla won. No, he didn't. The ending is exactly the same. The only difference is in the Japanese version, you can hear Godzilla roar along with King Kong, not just King Kong. That's it. That's the only difference at the end. So, but anyway, that was a long diatribe, but hopefully you got your $10 worth there on that one. Taker 610 says, give us Godzilla versus Kong Snyder Cut too soon. You know what? I wouldn't be adverse to that. I feel like there's a bunch of movie missing here, and I think we'll get into that as soon as we get into spoilers here shortly. But I want to make sure there isn't any super chats we missed in between there, because there's one more we can bring up on screen here, and then I'm out of super chats. I don't know if we had any more, Andre, if you want to check.
I will, yeah, sure, I will do.
But while you're doing that, I'll do this one. El Manuel O Trey 11 or 0311, sorry, says, to my beloved weapons Marines out there, happy 0331 4151 52 day. Let's end this month with a bang. Truly, yours truly, but not really, just an 0311. Well, if you're saying that you are an actual Marine, well, then thank you so much for your service. And we appreciate that. That is obviously something I'm not privy to as far as the breakdown there.
I also do not understand the Morse code, but if it's Marine, thank you for your service. And I say that,
I think,
sincerely,
if somebody wants to translate that for me, that'd be great.
But hopefully any other weapons Marines out there got the message, even though
thank you for your
we
service.
as the medium did not.
Thank you very much for your service.
And we are
what they are. There you go.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
There we go. Yeah, so maybe we have some other Marines out there that did get the message. That's the most important
thing. You go. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and we were caught up right up until this one. Michael Johnny, who says, we had Godzilla movies running on Saturday mornings on BBC during the summer holidays in the 80s. Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, that reminds me, the only other exposure a lot of American kids probably would have had then would have been just re-releases of the movies here and there, and then the cartoon. I forgot about the cartoon on Saturday mornings. They had a Godzilla cartoon. I think Hanna-Barbera did it, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I believe it was Hanna-Barbera. I learned of the existence of it much later. Even Marvel Comics did like a Godzilla comic in the likeness of the Hanna-Barbera animation.
That's correct. And with that, Jack of all casuals gives us our cue, I believe.
He does indeed. Jack of all casual says, okay guys, no spoilers for me, got to go. Yes, that is this is a good place to go, because we are about to go into the spoiler section very, very soon. So for those that don't want spoilers, Diego Flores sent us 100 Peruvian souls. Thank you so much.
It says, I believe that in Latin America, Godzilla is more known because we are content importers because lacked original production then. Well, that's understandable. And here's my generation who would see this movie, and we are also the generation that grew with Godzilla. King Kong was my dad's.
There you go. Yeah, generational shift there.
To a point, I can understand that, but I can't. But I can't believe you wouldn't be old enough to remember at least the 2005 one. But yeah, no, and actually, I kind of can believe that. I can believe that. I remember one of my first, I know this is not the same, but, you might find this interesting, Paulie. I found out one of my earliest Godzilla toys was actually a Mexican import, and I did not know it till like recent years.
Oh, wow.
It was worth a little bit, but I don't have it anymore.
Oh, man.
So you had a Chicano Godzilla.
Yeah. There was one. There was one that there was actually a couple I had, and I had one that would like you'd wind it up and it would like spark out the mouth and shit.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But those I think they took off the market because they would start shit on fire.
Wonder how many houses had to suffer the price before they learned that lesson.
Oh, it's hard to say. But yeah, Goblin Slayer confirms that, or at least backs that up. It says Godzilla is more popular in South America. I can understand that. All right, let's get into spoilers.